Right, who's bought a ticket? How much did it cost you?
I ended up buying two.
Now they're doing
Two?
I bought a third of the ticket that me and Yehuda and whoever else bought.
Now they're doing
And
splitting.
poem, I was a bit
They're doing splitting now.
a little bit drunk and I bought another one.
How much it cost you?
I bought a fifth of £137.
I haven't even tried.
Akiva.
Two then. They're doing splitting now though. I haven't had a split with.
Okay, but
Okay,
so that
so
means
You're getting £99 and you're honest.
No, but it's not half, it's half the price. My 4 quid gets me a prize of 10 grand.
Good.
Yeah, you split the prize as well.
No, but if I pick out another 4 quid, if I often go for that option and it's a £4 ticket, I'm not splitting it.
No,
It's only because above £100.
yeah, you can choose
My
afterwards.
£4 ticket could also get me.
Yes, yeah. You got a £4 ticket.
No. I'm saying if I
Yeah,
were to get a
I
£4
spent
ticket.
about £60 on two parts of 2 tickets.
If you would it to get 2 grand.
If I win, I'll get
No.
either 2 grand or 3.5, 3,000.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about that extra pound you can't split?
What to buy a pack of sweets for shit.
Tell you a penny.
Mike, did he give you PC? Did he give you laptop back?
Would you ask him so far?
I'll tell you what happened. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, quickly, because it's got 1
I'm
minute.
not sure he said it. Okay, so basically, I emailed.
No, very
I'll start
quickly.
again because the pictures become very clear what happened.
No,
No, it's not like
It's not like
So basically, I needed to order a computer, so I emailed her and I emailed. She says fine, whatever it is, send the money. The next morning or 2 days later, I get them this laptop, which was meant to be a little computer. So I emailed her and I said that I paid. When it comes, she said it came yesterday. I said, well, how come you sent it without me paying it? She goes, oh, we trust you. I thought it's a bit strange. I mean, I've had a relationship with them. I didn't expect them to do it. So I wasn't sure what to do. So
What's the question now? You paid and you
as I
got
said,
it.
They believe that they've sent me the thing, so finished. They sent it, never gonna, because I said they told me earlier that if they're never gonna find out, then it's fine. I said, you know, I emailed them and I spoke to the boss.
No,
and
I
I sent them a
trust you
picture.
that you'll pay for it now that you've had it.
Now you got
It's
to
like
pay for it.
anything.
Yeah, I
You
paid
just
it, but it's not for the
said-
laptop, it's for a computer. The laptop was worth 800.
Oh, you got a laptop included in the delivery.
No, and the computer I haven't received. They sent the wrong machine.
So how much better off? What's the differential?
About 700 quid.
Better off.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
But if you turn around and say you have so many routers, they'll say.
Just says
I told him, you know.
Okay, very quickly. So what
That's it. I'm
happened?
going to tell you, he's coming to pick up tomorrow. The boss. Someone's going to pick up.
Well, I can't say to him that.
What?
Why can't you say to? I don't
That's not a good
understand.
ending.
Why is
It's a very good ending. The kid is Hashem.
Oh, very good. That is a good ending. Very good.
No,
That's
but
very
at the
good.
end of the day,
ending.
they probably would have found out.
They
in their
knew they
system
sent it,
that-
Yeah, they knew they'd sent it to you. I don't
They're
believe
shifting these things out. You see what they got.
they would have.
How that's all this stuff. They would have said.
I ship out hundreds of bread, but if I send them really
Yeah,
quick,
but
no.
I think that they're shipping out amount of bread you sell a day. They're probably selling laptops. You see that they're just this.
Okay.
Laptops and I'm doing bread. If I'm shipping out in my laptop and I'm
Yeah,
shipping
then
out bread, it'd be worrying.
We're up to Be'ezus Hashem Yisborach, Daf Kuf Beis with Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. A most fascinating Gemara. I mean, these Gemaras, there's so much to learn from them. Unbelievable to learn.
Where are we up to?
Kuf Beis with Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. We're discussing literally this year, Pesach. What are you going to do when you come home first night? What's the Shabbos? You've got to make Kiddush because it's Yom Tov. You've got to make Havdalah because it's Shabbos. And changing the clock. The question is, what do you do? The Gemara does not discuss the Shechion. The Gemara discusses that later. And the Gemara does not discuss the Besamim. Why does the Gemara not discuss the Besamim? Why do we do Besamim?
Because it's 2 hours later.
Shabbos Yom
No,
Tov.
because the Simchas Yom Tov gives you the
So Chazal is as good as the Besamim. That's what Tosfos says. But what's the Rashbam say?
that you do have in the Shabbos
You
area.
do have the Shabbos, so very good. Oh. So Gufa, Yom Tov Shchol Yosachar Shabbos, Yom Tov like this, so that comes after Shabbos, Avama Yakna. So we're going to keep always the Rosh Hashanah. Yud is Yayin, that's Ber Piagofen, Kuf is Kiddush, Nun is Ner, and Hey is Havdalah. V'shvul Mayan Hak. So Rashi, the Rashbam goes through each one in order, and the Rashbam clears like this. Rav says you do first Yain, then Kiddush, then Ner, then Havdalah. What's the logic? Rav holds the correct thing to do is Kiddush, then Havdalah. That is the main aspect between Rav and Shmuel. Do you do Havdalah first, Kiddush first? What's the logic? The Gemara actually tells us Shmuel's logic in a minute. That if you've got a king coming to visit you, and then a minister comes to visit you, what do? You first take the king, leave from the king, and then you welcome the minister. Shabbos is a king, Yom Tov is a minister, Shabbos is more choshev. So first you say Havdalah to say bye-bye to the king, and then you say hello to Yom Tov, that's Kiddush. You do first Havdalah and Kiddush.
Also, it's in order as well. It's logical to say.
I hear. Okay. That's not, nobody says that, I'm not sure.
Very good.
No, because you could argue, it's not necessary, because it's Havdalah is meant to be after Shabbos. The Kiddush, I'm not sure if you could argue. Rav disagrees for two fundamental reasons. That you do Kiddush before Havdalah. One, if you do Havdalah first, it looks like you are desperate to get rid of Shabbos, and therefore you're in a hurry. We always want to show a delay. So we do Kiddush first, then later we do Havdalah. The second reason is because Kiddush is more important than Havdalah. Kiddush is to sanctify, to make it Kedushas HaYom. That's more important than Havdalah. So we have a fundamental machlokes between Rav and Shmuel is Kiddush first or Havdalah first. Once we have that machlokes, the other things fall into place. Because according to Rav, you do Yain first because of the Kiddush. Then once you do Kiddush, you now start with the Havdalah process. What's the Havdalah process? You always do Nei before Havdalah, like every Motzei Shabbos. So you do Nei Havdalah. Shmuel says no, that the main thing is we're interested is in the Havdalah first. So we do the order of Havdalah, which is Yain, Nei, Havdalah, and then we do Kiddush.
First, we about the Yain.
The Yain comes first. Like Rabbi Omar Yanhak. Now, before we start anything else, Rashbam asks a question, and that is as follows. I'm sure you all know the history of Yomi as well as you know the history of the kings and queens of England 1,000 times better, hopefully. Oh. So Rabbi was a contemporary. We've got Rav, Shmuel, the next one is Levi. And later we're going to have Mabui to Avona, and we're going to have Rabbi Shua and all these people. Rabbi was not a contemporary of Rav, Shmuel, and Levi. Rabbi came much later. Says the Rashbam, this Gemara needs to be edited. Why does it have to be edited? You can't put Rav, Shmuel, Rabbi, and Levi. That doesn't make sense. It's like saying, remember when somebody's speaking, wasn't a full person, they were speaking on the radio, like Rabbi, so to speak. I said, look how brilliant the Kali are. Even in exile, we grew up. Rabbi Akiva, Chafetz Chaim, Chasam Sefer. And I was thinking, this person, like you could hear, they had no idea who we were speaking about. Spartan names. Never mind. But the point is, how can you say, says Rashbam, you have to change it, you have to edit it. Says Tosfos, no. Because if you look carefully, Tosfos got a very nice chat, is the first, the Gemara lists all the people that start with Yain, then all the people that start with Kiddush, and then all the people that start with Nei. It's Yanhak, Yakna, and Yahanak, and then you've got Kanya, Kino, and then Nikia, Nihak. So therefore, it fits very nice, says Tosfos. You don't need to change edit our Gemara. But says Tosfos, if you look in the Yerushalmi indeed edits our Gemara like the Rashbam, and therefore it is a bit of a problem. Okay, so Rabbi says Yanhak. What's that? Yain, Havdalah, Nei, Kiddush. Why? The answer is that he holds like Rav that Havdalah comes before Kiddush. He holds the Havdalah comes before Kiddush. Yes, the Havdalah comes before Kiddush. But he wants to put the Nei between. Why does he want to put the Nei between? Because Havdalah and Kiddush are two opposing brachas. Havdalah is, we finish with Kedusha. Kiddush is, we're starting Kedusha. So he wants to put them as far as possible away from each other. So therefore, not like Shmuel that does Yanhak, which is Yain, Nei, Havdalah, Kiddush, but rather what he does is Yain, Havdalah, then Nei, Kiddush. So he wants to do, again, it's a bit like Shmuel that Havdalah comes before Kiddush, a bit like Rav that we split the Kiddush and Havdalah apart from each other with the candle in between in order to show that it's separate from each other. Oh. Levi Omar Kanya, why does he say Kanya? He holds Kiddush before Havdalah. So what you do is, once you do Kiddush first, the answer, then he says like this, a very fundamental thing. Kiddush can be done on bread or wine. It's a very important halacha, you have to memorize this. Havdalah can only be done on wine. Anybody want to suggest, we're going to tell this many times, why can you not make Havdalah on bread, and why can you make Kiddush on bread?
Kiddush on bread because it's hot milk.
Oh, the Rashbam says it later. We'll say more detail. when you're making Kiddush, you're saying that the meal is for the sake of Shabbos, for the sake of Yom Tov. So you can be Mekadesh on bread to show that the bread is part of you're eating the bread that covered Shabbos, covered Yom Tov. The Havdalah was never established on bread. You cannot make Havdalah on bread. So therefore, says Levi, if you do Yain Kiddush near Havdalah, people will think that you've done the Yain because of the Kiddush, and they won't realize that you meant to do the Yain because of the Havdalah. So he holds that Kiddush should be before Havdalah. And therefore, that's why he does Kiddush first. And that's why he doesn't want to do Yain first, to remind you that Yain should be before Havdalah. And therefore, in order to make it clear that the Yain is important for the Havdalah, he puts the Yain as close as possible to the Havdalah. He puts Kiddush, the Yain, Havdalah. They say Kiddush before Havdalah, but they also want that the Yain should go on both the Kiddush and the Havdalah. And if they do like a Levi, people will think that the Yain had nothing to do with the Kiddush. So therefore, they do Kinnah, that they do Kiddush with the Yain with the Kiddush. Right. Another reason the Rashbam says one reason is we want to show that the Yain is going on both. If you put the Yain like Levi, you're going to have the Yain so far from Kiddush, people remember that you had to do with the Kiddush. Another reason Rashbam says is like this: Kiddush is Mekadesh, Havdalah is to weaken. We want to separate them as much as possible. So do Kiddush on one end, Havdalah on the other, and do Yain in the middle. Levi, yeah, but they turn it round. Oh,
No, the kuf and the hay is the same.
the kuf and the hay is the same. Very good. But the yod and the nun is different because they according to Levi, we want to emphasize the yain is for Havdalah. According to Chachamim, we want to make sure, very good, that people realize also Kiddush need that. Ma b'rei Ravina. Let's see. Look at second Tosfos. Kinya Pirush Hashpam. Tosfos, second Tosfos. We did the first Tosfos before. Pirush Hashpam. Zoyt this v'chayin la'avdol mishum dekatchin la'pas v'mavdin la'pas. If you must push when tam l'kol dekatchin la'pas, it's v'ashim or yomach gaim and avdol yom mishel bol mishel Kiddush l'chol Yom Tov. So you want to show that if you do Kiddush only for the end, people will think if you do Kiddush by the yain by the Kiddush, people will think to themselves that you're not doing yain for the Havdalah. Okay. The next shit is Kino, where he said Kiddush. So I'll explain that the idea to make Kiddush Havdalah is not separate. My braid Nekiah. Nekiah is ne Kiddush yain Havdalah. The reason is they want to make that the wine should be as connected as possible for the Kiddush and the Havdalah. So he wants to put the Kiddush wine and the Havdalah next to each other. One just before, one just after. The Neh, he feels is not really part of the process. Because why do we make a bracha on candles? Not because of the Kedusha Sayyom, not because of the Havdalah Sayyom. We make the bracha on Neh because simply that's when it was created. And in theory, it's possible to actually make it a separate time altogether. So because of that, he does the Neh first. And finally, we have Mosam Mishmud Yisroel Nihag. Reason is because you want to do like the Rav, that we want to do the Neh is separate, but we want to do that the Yain is going for the Havdalah and the Kiddush, so we do that with the Yain first. Okay. How should we do Havdalah? As we said before, that was Shittas. Actually, it's a new shitta, sorry. It's a new shitta. Like this. Ne Havdalah Yain Kiddush. The reason is we want to do Havdalah before Kiddush and want to make the Yain together with both. That's how Rabbi explains. If a king leaves and a minister comes in, then afterwards you go out and you show greeting to the minister. What's the halacha? Yakzana. Here the Gemara finally includes the shechion. So according to Rabbi, everybody is holding both Rabbi and Rab. Let's do Rab again. Rab yaknehaz. So we all remember yaknehaz. Yan kiddush ne Havdalah zman. That means they all agree with Rab that we do first kiddush then Havdalah. The reason we do first kiddush then Havdalah is why? Rashbam says again 2 reasons. One is because kiddush is more important. Another thing is to show that we're reluctant to say Rabbi to the Yom Tov. Machlokes Abai and Rava is where to put their shechion. Abai says the shechionu is part of the Kiddush. The reason we say shechionu is not to do with the Havdalah. You never say shechionu because something's gone. You say shechionu because something's come. So it says Abaya, you should do Yayin, Kiddush, then Zman, then Shechionu. So what's the Svar Vava? So Rashbam says the interesting Svar and Vava. The reason is because Shechionu is also nothing to do with Kiddush. Does anybody can prove to this that a Shechionu has nothing to do with Kiddush? What?
You don't say Shvisha Pesach.
No, even better.
Every week.
What? No, Kiddush of Yom Tov maybe. On Yom Kippur we say Shechionu. When do we say Shechionu? Konidre. What happens to the answer is that if let's say you don't make Kiddush, let's say you're fasting, and let's say you can't make Kiddush, whatever may reason may be, you still say Shechionu.
Yes. What
So
they
you
say.
see, so Shechionu is nothing to do with Kiddush on the Yom Tov. So that's why we do Yakdahas. So now we come over to Shabbos, you'll tell your wife I do Yakdahas, and you'll explain to her. I do wine first because this is like more in brachas actually, that you don't make Kiddush unless you've got something to make Kiddush on. So you first start with a wine. Then I start with a Kiddush. Why do I do the Kiddush? Because Kiddush comes for Havdalah, not to show that I'm rushing to make Havdalah. It's big Inyan not to rush out of Shabbos. And another thing is because Kiddush is more important because I'm making something Kaddish, Havdalah is less. Then I do Nei and Havdalah because once I'm finished with Kiddush, I'm starting the person of Havdalah. The person of Havdalah is Nei then Havdalah. And finally I do Shechionu because really I don't need to do Shechionu with Kiddush at all. It happens to be, if I'm already going to say Shechionu, I'll say it with that. But that's why we do Yakdahas. So the Gemara says, Velchas Kavava, says Rash Tosfos. You don't need to tell me that halachas like Kavava. Why? Abai Vavava halacha Kavava, except for 6 places which are known as Yad Kagam. Says Tosfos, the reason we have to pass the like Kavava is because of all the previous opinions. Let's see the third Tosfos on the page. Velchas Kavava, Mishum Inach HaMaroim, because of the other Maroim, it's the Nifsa Kavava, V'lo Mishum Abaya. When do we pass like against the buyer? So the only reason you have to mention halachas like is only because of the other Amorim. Yehuda by Yehuda came to visit They brought candles on Besamim. First made the bracha on Besamim, then on the candle, which is what we do. He said to him, how can you do such a thing? But we have a Mishnah in Brachas that says everybody agrees we do Nei first, my he did not. We're talking about somebody who needs to eat Motzei Shabbos, and he only has 1 cup of wine. How should he do it? B'Shammai say first you make a bracha on the candles, then the food, then B'Samim, then Havdalah. Or B'Samim, Nei B'Samim, Motzei Havdalah. B'Shammai say that you do Nei and B'Samim, then Motzei and Havdalah. So everybody agrees that Nei comes before B'Samim. That's a shittas Rameya. Everybody agrees that the food is at the beginning and Havdalah is at the end. We actually had this more brachas. The machlekes is which way around? Do we do Nei then B'Samim or B'Samim then Nei? We do like Rabbi Yehuda according to Beis Hillel, which is that we first do Besamim, then and if a person ate Motzei Shabbos, what do? We do first Mozon benching, then Havdalah at the end. Now we have a few places in Shas Amar Yehuda halacha kestam Mishnah. Now that Mishnah in Brachos we just quoted was a stam Mishnah, so it's a bit of a difficulty. So says Tosfos. One more Abiyachn, fourth Tosfos. No agree. Say, that's Tam Mishnah. How can you do such a thing? Abiyachn doesn't always agree with Tam Mishnah. So that means like this: that he read that Mishnah b'loshin yochid, meaning that it wasn't a Tam Mishnah. That somebody says that's the Mishnah. When somebody says that's halacha, then we don't pass it anymore. So a Stam Mishnah which doesn't have anybody saying it, we pass it like it. But let's say it says Omar Yehuda, Omar Meir, then we've lost its status of a Stam Mishnah. More carries on. Yaakov ba'aba ikle lebei Rav. Yaakov visited Rav. Chazed the Baruch Bar Geffen akasa kamo. He made Baruch Bar Geffen on Kiddush. V'hoda Baruch akasa the Berchosa. Then he made another Baruch Bar Geffen on the wine of benching. If you look at Tosfos explains this is the 5th Tosfos. I said the Tosfos Avi Pesachim was written by. Was much more mekubal. Everybody like this is part of the learning of it. Baruch Kasa Kama says Rashi Tosfos showed Kiddush. That he made a bracha on Kiddush and on benching. Oh, the Gemara in Bracha says if you make a Baruch Pri Geffen on the wine of Kiddush, you don't make a Baruch Pri Geffen on any wine during the meal. Says Tosfos that's only during the meal. But after benching, you have to make a new Baruch Pri Geffen. So he's still making 2 Bor Piyah Gefen, like we do, one on Kiddush and one on the wine after the meal. But Ishti and drank. Omalei, I'm loch kuli hey. Or Boichlon Mal Chodo Zimna. You already made it Bocha. You already made it Bocha Bor Piyah Gefen. Omalei Kavinon Bevesh Gelusa. When we came to the Veish Gelusa, the Hochi of Dinon, that's what we used to do. We always used to make a new Bor Piyah Gefen on the wine after bench. So he said to him, Omalei Tinech Bevesh Gelusa, Dochi Ovid, the Sofik Maislan, Sofik Rei Maislan. Hocha Manach Kasakamon, the Datin Elave. By when you're invited to a yeshiva, you don't know if the Rosh Yeshiva is going to give you a cup of wine for benching. So therefore, when you make Bor Piyah Gefen on the Kiddush, you don't know if you'll get wine for benching. But here you knew very well at the beginning of the meal they're going to have wine for benching. If you knew you're going to have wine for benching, so therefore, you shouldn't make a new Bor Piyah Gefen. Tesis points out that why would they not give a cup? Why would they not give a cup? Why shouldn't they? Why would Veish Gelusa be so stingy as not to give people a cup? So he says the Veish Gelusa would only give a cup to the Mizam, and the Mizam will then pass the cup round to all the people in the yeshiva. But not always did they go around everybody in the yeshiva. So therefore, when you got some of the wine, you'd have to make a new Bor Piyah Gefen. That's what Tesis says. That's the end of the 3 lines. Tesis. They never knew if they would get from it. Okay. So he said you can't compare when you're eating at home to when you're eating in yeshiva when you don't know if you'll get wine. So he said, "Oh my lay, I know of the katabide devav. I did like the students of Vav. To have brunner vav chanana tamide devav have a brunner vav chanana with the tamidim of Vav. Have Yossi besudosa. They were sitting at a meal, top of Kuf Gimel Amud Beis. Koyalayu Rabbi Saba. Rabbi Saba was the waiter. We're going to see an interesting thing. That Rabbi Saba keeps correcting them halachically. So it's interesting. They had a waiter who was a huge Talmid Chacham. So he kept serving them. Omule, they said to him, Havlon v'nivach, bring us a cup of wine in order that we should bench. They say for Omule, then they changed their minds and they said to him, Havlon v'nishti, give us a cup of wine we want to drink. I mean, they said to the waiter, bring us a cup of wine for benching. Then they decided, you know what? We've got a bit more time. Bring us a cup of wine for benching. Once you said you want to bench, it's not allowed to drink. Once you've decided to bench, you are not allowed to eat anymore. Oh, yes. Right. So therefore, we make a new Bor Piyah Gefen after the meal. Right. Let's see the second Rashbam on Kuf Gimel Amud Beis. Also Chol Mishti. Am Birchas Hamazon Asuchi Daitu v'Tzorich Lachzer Borach Birchas Hamazon Bachin Norginon. We make a new Bor Piyah Gefen after benching. V'af agav Teshamino Moachet Birchas Hamazon Afsuket Zedosei Lo Yiborich Buchel Hayayin Lacham Mikam Devorach Birchas Hamazon Birchas Hamazon Potrosei. He says like this, it's a bit of a question that the Rashbam says that, I think about it, you should make Bor Piyah Gefen, that what's the word for it? You should think like this. 2 things. First, Rashbam says that if you make Kiddush, where's the Ala Gefen for Kiddush? What do you do for Ala Gefen? It says Rashbam benching sorts that out. Now, there's another question is, we always have a principle that whenever you make, let's say, chasna to Sheva Brachos, what's the first bracha you make? A gofen. So he says like this, when it comes to Zimun, the chayah, what you should do is you say, Beis from mention, Yishma Hashem, Baruch atah Hashem Bor Piyah Gofen. Because you're making the benching on the wine, and whenever you do benching, whenever you do anything on wine, the first bracha you make is Bor Piyah Gofen. At the Sheva Brachos, what's the first bracha? No, you're right. At the Sheva Brachos, you do. Yes, at the Sheva Brachos we do, but let's say at the chuppah we don't. Anyway, he said we can't because before benching you can still eat. So therefore, it's like it doesn't make sense. Therefore, we have to do the Bor Piyah Gefen at the other end. Now here we have a very fundamental machlokas, and that is like this: if a person decides to say Havlon v'nivach, let's bench, he's not allowed to eat anymore. It's a very important halacha. People are not so aware of it. If you say let's bench, you can't eat anymore, you can't drink anymore. There's a huge machlokas, which Rabbi brings both. He's actually maker as to what does that mean you're not allowed to eat. If you want, let's just see. The Rashbam is 8 lines down of the middle wide lines on this page. The Kibedova Habedivach. Once a person says, "I want to bench," also the Mishti Adevichas and he can't drink at all. That's the end. If you look in Tesis Kuf Aleph Amud Beis, the second Tesis, Tesis says that that's not true. Tesis says that of course you're allowed to eat, but the only difference is that when you eat, you're going to have to make a new bracha. So let's see. It's a very, very long Tesis. So I'm not going to be able to read through all of it. But if you look on Kuf Beis Amud Aleph, you have to make a boire priagofen until until you make boire priagofen. But you're not allowed to make a boire priagofen. You're not allowed to eat until you make boire priagofen. Oh, it says machlekes according to Tosfos, you're allowed to eat as long as you make another bracha. What's the svar of the machlekes? It's like real by mitzvah doshos, but it's interesting. So pull down the chavah. What is the basis of the issa to drink or eat after you said let's bench? According to Tosfos, it is simply a hesach hadas. We've said many times, if you have a drink, you can't drink, you don't need to make a new bracha. But if you've decided you're not going to drink anymore, so now if you decide to drink some more, you have to make a new bracha. So if there's no issa in the actual drink, you just simply need to make a new bracha. According to the Rashbam, when you say I want to bench, you've got now a chiyuv to bench. The chiyuv of benching makes it that you're not allowed to do anything else rather than bench, and therefore you're not even allowed to even make a new bracha. Okay. Well, carries on. Ameima v'ma'azutra v'avashi av yosef v'sudasa. Ameima v'ma'azutra v'avashi was sitting at a meal. The kuya alay of achabei derova. Achabei derova was serving. Ameima borecha kol kasa v'kasa. Ameima made a new boy piagafed for every cup that he drank. So he made 2 brachos on the first cup and the last cup. The Rashbam and Tosfos both say that it's referring to the cup after benching. He only made 1 bracha, and that's it. 3 different people and 3 different opinions. Can you imagine? You go to a meal, 3 Talmidei Chacham, and each one does different things. What am I supposed to do? I'm the waiter. I'm watching 3 people. One person makes a bracha every cup. One person only the first and last, and one only the first. What should I do? So each one they justified it. I only plan to have 1 cup of wine, and I change my mind and have another cup of wine. So every time I make a new bracha, it's not because that's the halacha. It's simply because every time it's a reconsideration. I'm doing like the Talmidei Rav, which we quoted previously, that once you decide to bench, and that's how we pass, and you have to make a new bracha. We don't do like the Talmidei Rav. Why? You do Yom Tov after Shabbos. We pasken, we do Yain Kiddush Ne Havdalah. We also say Zman. Now, if you think about it, you make Yain Kiddush Ne Havdalah. Now, when you make the Bo Piyah Geffen, afterwards you make Kiddush, which is fine. But then you make Havdalah. Havdalah is a separate act. So now you should need to make a new Bo Piyah Geffen in order to be able to drink the wine, just like you make Kiddush on wine. And then at the end of the meal, you make a new Bo Piyah Geffen. Veloyi says, well, you can't compare. There, when you bench, you're not drinking anymore. You don't uproot your mind from drinking. And the Gemara says, therefore, we pass. So the Rashbam says that we pass like the Talmidim of Rav. The Rashbam is even though Rashi is the latter. And we have a principle pass like Rashi with the pass. The come of Rav Mazut v'chad so last like we do. Tosfos asks a question, an interesting question. If you remember, the Gemara says that Yanai was once eating with his wife. Why they said more in brachas, and they didn't know how to bench. So what happened was they invited Shimon ben Shetach to bench for them, and what they did was he ate and he was moitzing them. And the question is, how can he do it? The halacha is once they've decided to bench, therefore they're not including in his benching because the Gemara there is referring to Zimmel. So Tosfos says, indeed, Yitaka not Yoitza. That means if you, for example, say, I'm ready to bench, and then somebody comes in and starts having some bread, and he says, can I do Zimun with you? It doesn't work. Even though you've not done anything, you're just sitting there, you can't do Zimun. Right. Oh. Okay. So if he asks a question, the Tosus of Ashi, it's the third bottom Tosus. Tosus discusses Seder night. Look at Tosus, Bimtuma, it's 5th lines down. It's a very, very big question that in many different Rishonim don't pass like this Tosus, but I just tell you what Tosus says. Do you know Seder night, we make a new Bo Pia Geffen on every cup. Now we know at the beginning of the Seder night, you're going to drink 4 cups. In fact, some of the children were drinking 10, 15, because they can't bother waiting through maggots for so long and they spill a cup. And you make a new Bo Pia Geffen every time. How can they do such a thing? How can you do such a thing? What? You know from the beginning you're drink 4 cups of wine. We just passed it in our Gemara. But no, but what hefsek is there? No Esachadas. There's no Esachadas.
Is there a new chill there?
Well, so let's say you have a long shtickle Torah. Let's say you sit down Friday night and you say a lot of different Torah, you make a new Bo Pia Geffen.
Not a new mitzvah. A new chill.
What?
A new mitzvah.
Oh, that's what we pass. That's not what Tosus says. Tosus is because Tosus says because once you said that should go along, it's like bench you have to take a new bracha. So Tosus says if that's the case, so where's the kiddush from Mokim Suda? So Tosus says because at the end of the day it's all part of the necessity. And says Tosus according to this that it's a proper, according to this that it's a hefsek, not like you said that it's a new mitzvah, it's a proper hefsek. Says Tosus, what's the nafkin according to Tosus? You have to say Alagefen 4 times as well. We don't say Alagefen. Do you say Alagefen 4 times? No. Or you say once then. So I ask you, if it's a hefsek, say Alagefen. If it's not a hefsek, don't say Bo Pia Geffen. So Tosus holds it is a hefsek, and Tosus did say Alagefen 4 times. Look at Tosus. If we go nearer, that's 2.5 lines to the bottom, can't read all the Tosus. The Voicha Kolabuk is Alagefen. Chutz because Shane, except for the second of Samach Chesuda. The Tosus of Gamach Beis Kishleus in the Sun, he says we should say Alagefen on both cups of wine. In the Maisa, we don't pass like this. Tosus, what do? We just what?
Just say Alagefen.
Just Alagefen on the last one, because the reason is because it's a new mitzvah. That's how we say Bo Pia Geffen.
Say Uber.
Says the Gemara, Kimotela Abdullah. Rava now reached Abdullah, because if you remember, there was a story, somebody came to visit Rava. Ashbam says it's referring to Rava, not to the previous story of Brunna. He had a candle on the table, and he took an Abdullah candle, which has got many wicks. What's a good English? A lamp. What's a good English translation for Abdullah candle over a normal candle? Torch. Okay, call it a torch. So he lit the torch from the candle. Why did you bother lighting a torch for a candle? He said to him, the Gabba did it. I didn't do it. You shouldn't ask me. Ask the Gabba. If the Gabba wouldn't have heard it from you, he wouldn't have done it. The Tosus of Rosh and the Tosus of Paris asked, I was very relieved. I couldn't see him on the picture asking it. What kind of argument is this? He said to him, why did you get that torch? Let's finish off. Don't you know that it's better to use a torch? We are makwid for $5 to use a torch, right? I already bought before Sukkot, I bought myself a Yakna Has candle. Because it was, you could buy 3 for £2 in Mashers or special offer. There was 2 Yakna Has and Sukkot, and I worked out then it's been 1 for Pesach. Because there's always a problem. How are you going to do your Yakna Has candle? Because if you put them together and then separate them, those who hold that is no good, it's kibbutz.
I never put them together. You meant to put them together?
Because it's supposed to have 2 candles, it's supposed to be a torch.
I just use the 1 candle.
1 candle, that's it.
Rava
says not like that.
What is the Yakna Has candles already together?
The 2.
Like with 2 wicks.
That's right, exactly.
A regular candle.
That's right.
You can light it B'Shas Meister.
Yes.
Well,
that's the time. What? You can't blow it out. So it's a special candle, you can't blow it out. What are you going to do? When are you going to light the matches? Before the bracha? It has to be before the bracha. And then you want everybody to be able to get a light from it, and then it shouldn't go out. And you have to be careful not to put it out. You have to put it out gently. Okay, it's look for 60. You can buy it in Mashers or what's the word for anybody else here? What? Or now I know it's kind of more popular. I used to take matches, I used to get these long matches and put them or to put 1 candle next to another, but make sure that only the flame touches, not the wicks touch. It's a big shining place. Okay, so what happened was he lit a torch from a candle. So he asked him, I tell you, a very beautiful Tisra. I got a lot of pleasure with it. So the Tisra said, what's going on? He asked him why. He said, the Gabba did it. He said, the Gabba would have done it without you telling him. So he said, because that's the halacha. Why didn't you tell it to him not the first time? Says the Tisra. And when somebody asks you a question and he doesn't show true interest in Torah, you shouldn't reply to him. There's a letter I once got that said from Chochmah Musa from Smichas Yisroel of Kelm that he once wrote to his Talmid of God about a third thing, and they asked him to write it. It took 6 months. They had to beg him 6 months of writing letters because he lived far away from them. After 6 months of them writing letters to tell him that Dvar he said and so on. And he said to them, the reason is, if I'd have said it to you straight away, you showed a certain lack of enthusiasm for it, so you didn't deserve to hear it. There's a few places in that. That's the Tisavash. This when the parent says a much more complicated answer. He says that Robert thought that the person understood the answer, and that the reason he's doing it because of a torch. And therefore he said to him, and he thought that the question was only, is that B'di'ever the candle's also good, because Allah is B'di'ever the candle's also good. But when he realized from the fact that he asked him again, that he didn't realize that this is Lechatchila de Kedin. Therefore that's why it was back and forth. I mean, he thought that he knew that halacha. He just thought, why Lechatchila B'di'ever is okay with a candle? So he said to him, the Gabba did it, and therefore the Gabba, I wouldn't have said B'di'ever it's okay to use a candle. But once the Gabba did it, the torch is fine, it's better. When he asked him again, he realized he didn't even realize it's Lechatchila. So then he said to him, no, you have to know mitzvah minat muvcha, that this is a better way. Okay. Pasach v'omar. So Rabbi started saying Havdalah. What did he say? Hamavdil ben kodesh lechoy ben lechoyshach v'Yisroel amim b'mayish v'lishesh v'amayisa. So he said this long nusach which we say every Motzei Shabbos. Omalei. So Ba'acha said to him, to Rabbi, Lama lach kulei yahai. Why do you have to say such a long Havdalah? Hamavdil kodesh lechoy ben lechoyshach. V'omar v'yoda barav hamavdil ben kodesh lechoy zu Havdalah sh'Rabbi Yehuda Nosi. All you need to say is hamavdil ben kodesh lechoy, nothing else. Omalei. He said to him, no cost really. I've got another price. Said Omar b'lezam aboishio. If you're going to say Havdalah, either you say 3 distinctions or 7 distinctions, not more than 7 and not less than 3. How many did he say?
3.
Well, let's count it. He said 4. He said, I don't understand you. So by the way, the Rishonim say, why 3 and 7? They got all kinds of svars as to where the 3 and 7 come. So he says 7 connected to a kiyim, and 3. I remember somebody saying why 3. Can't remember what 3 is. I forgot it. I'm sorry. Well, if I remember tomorrow, I'll bring it. Why you didn't say not 3, not 7? So why did you? I said 3, and I said the 4th one to conclude the bracha with the way of the chasima. Meaning like this, there's a mitzvah whenever you finish off a bracha, that the last words before the Baruch Atah Hashem should be similar to the words after the Baruch Atah Hashem. So therefore, I had to add a 4th, because I would have said like this. And I would have said, Baruch Atah Hashem, I didn't want to do that because I wouldn't have talked about Kodesh L'chol before. So if I had to say, in order that the last words that I use should be connected, says the Gemara. You have to say similar to what you finish off. Where you start. Like this, if you Yom Tov after Shabbos, we finish off the bracha being kodesh lekodesh. If you have to start off, so the way we start off is so therefore you don't need to finish off with Kedusha Shabbos, Kedusha Yom Tov V'Dalto, because since you have to finish off, that means the bracha at the end has to be similar to what you started off with, so that's fine. But according to Man Da'oma, you don't need to say Kedusha Shabbos, Kedusha Yom Tov V'Dalto. Because we want to finish off, so therefore we have to say between Shabbos and Yom Tov you've separated, which is Kodesh leKodesh. And Rashbam and both Tosas say that we do it not because we paskin. The reason we say is not because we paskin like this, but simply because we want to be machmir for that shitta. So here we have a Tosas, the third Tosas on the page, where Tosas goes through the special bracha, which is which we say only on the Motzei Shabbos, which is a Yom Tov, and Tos goes through explaining the bracha, which is quite rare to have Tos. Let's see Tos. Why did we have such a long bracha when we say Motzei Shabbos, which is Yom Tov? It's not necessary. It's not the Pesach or the Chasima. Because it's a special day between Yom Tov and Shabbos. It's the only time in the year when we say 7 havdolas. What is it? We say, let's get to Siddur. So let's get to Siddur. We say, where is it? Yeah. Where did they put the Kiddush? The Kiddush of they make the Kiddush of Yom Tov at the back. Yeah, you think it's sorry. Yeah, I was hoping it would be. Oh, where is it? Sorry.
I'm sure you told him now.
No, it doesn't have it for some reason. I've not got it here. Oh, here I've got it. Sorry. It's like this. Let's see. He says like this. He says over in the top. That's the first one. That's the second one. But Yisroel Amim is the third one. Is the fourth one. There's a difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov. What's the difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov? Says Tosfos. Yom Tov show me the Derech Nefesh. That's the fifth one. That's another one. That's Yom HaShvi Mishish Ma'amayis is not going back to the other one, but Yom HaShvi Mishish Ma'amayis, which we already said, but it's referring to Chol HaMoed. The Shavdol Avot, which should add even more, Shabbos also. The Avdol Achas. There's two kedushas, shtei avdolos. Ben Kohanim, Levim, Yisroelim. You've got 3 levels: Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, Zayin. Ben Chasimot, Ben Kodesh leKodesh. We finish off. There's a 7 havdolas in the havdolah of that special havdolah. Kufa, let's do a bit more. Omar Rabbeloz Omar Beis. Hapichas livchis b'sholish va'moisef leYosef al Sheva. You shouldn't say more than 7. Meisve. Omer havdolas v'motzei Shabbos v'motzei Yom Tov v'motzei Yom Kippur v'motzei Shabbos v'Yom Tov. Motzei Shabbos Yom Tov you do. Uv'yomotzei Yom Tov leChodesh HaMoed. Aval lo v'motzei Yom Tov leShabbos. You do not say from motzei Yom Tov to Shabbos. When it's motzei Yom Tov to Shabbos, we don't say any sort of havdolah whatsoever. By the way, we don't say this bracha. It's only motzei Shabbos to Yom Tov. Some Jews use Talmid Chacham knows how to say, should say a lot. Should only say 1. Says the Gemara, that means if you can say plenty. If you can only say 1. Before we said 3 or 7. Here we're bringing another shit to that 1's enough. The son of a Kaddish person, would only say 1. But we say 3. My new Banon Shel Kedoshim. Who is the Banon Shel Kedoshim? Menachem Bas Simoy. But my call it Banon Shel Kedoshim, the Staka B'Tzulsa the Zuzah, he never looked at a coin. So Menachem Bas Simoy never looked at a coin. Why didn't he look at a coin? Why did Menachem Bas Simoy never look at a coin? There's a picture of a king. So it's a form of Avodah Zarah, so it's forbidden. Tesis in Avodah Zarah says that one should not look at a statue. One should not look at a statue. Even just to glance at it, one should not look. So the question is, what was special about him? Tesis gives 2 interesting answers. One is that when it's done for business matters, it's okay, and therefore over here you're allowed to look at a coin, but he was machmir even for a coin. There's another answer is that the issa is to gaze, but to look briefly you're allowed to. And he didn't even look briefly at a coin. So 2 chumras by Menachem Bas Simoy. Even though it wasn't done for an image, it was just done for business, etc. And also he only looked, even briefly he didn't look. Tesis points out that he himself was Kaddish, right? He himself was Kaddish. So why do we call him Banon Shel Kedoshim, the son of holy people? He himself never looked at a coin. Why do we say the son of a holy person? We should say a holy person. Yes. Says Tesis, because his father was also Kaddish. And when we see somebody's Kaddish, we know that he must have been influenced by the father. Sometimes they sort of have beneshek means weapons. It's Rosh Hashanah, but non-shol Kadoshim. It's a title you can have for some people. Beneshek, you never seen the title? He's a very type of person. Non-shol Kadoshim. So he never looked at Beis, he did wrong. We'll stop over here. That you have to say 3, 1 is not enough. If you only say 1 Havdalah, it's not enough for Havdalah, you should say 3. We're up to Omar Bishua ben Levi, Tkuf Daled Omud Al. What? Yeah, but we said we need to be 2 daf ahead, and we've got some longer daf coming up on Friday. Yeah, we're doing well. You felt it was too fast today?
No.
I'm not.
Familiar, a lot of it's familiar. The shade.
Yes.